like making sure I'm actively doing that. So when he passed away, I just remember like the last thing he told me was like, I deserve to live a full life. Like that, he kept telling me that after we're done talking on my birthday, and I was like, that's kind of like what I started focusing on. So I immediately started doing therapy with our like team clinician, and then I started just reading a bunch of books, like self-help books about like myself, like how to
Right.
master myself and my journey and my thoughts, and to communicate in a cognitive way, a thought, critically thinking about how I'm feeling, being able to explain myself and to be honest with myself, so that I can, get through whatever tough time I am. And then when I am feeling like, feeling upset or feeling hurt, then to just like let those feelings flow and not to hold them in.
I made it through the rough time. I made it through the tough time. I made it through the bad time. So now I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Okay. One day we gon' get on. Talk to 'em. You ain't got a choice.
Welcome to Bailey Buck Unplugged, where we talk about sports, entertainment, and mental health in support of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. If you're struggling with mental health, we encourage you to speak up and get help. A great place to start is 988. That's the free crisis prevention lifeline. Or you can check out the resources tab at kennedykids.org. If you are in an absolute emergency, please dial 911. Either way, we want you to know that you are not alone and that you don't have to struggle, and speak up, get help. There are resources available to you, and we are here to support you. If you're new around here, I want to introduce you to our host. I am Misty Buck. I am an author and a mental health and performance coach. And my co-hosts are Robert Bailey. He is the president of Rosenhaus Sports, the president of Kennedy Kids Foundation. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, two-time college national champion. He's an NFL record holder, and he's an ESPY winner. And we are also joined by Bailey Brooks Mashburn. She is a celebrity wedding and event planner, a former NFL cheerleader, and the executive director of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. Hey, and welcome to another episode of Bailey and Buck Unplugged. Today's guest is none other than Jevon Holland, aka the Snowman. He's a straight up game changer in and out of football, explosive, fearless, and one of the premier safeties in the NFL today. He stood out at Oregon, became the first safety selected in the 2021 NFL draft, made major noise in the league with the Miami Dolphins, even being named to the 2021 PFWA All-Rookie team. And now he brings that same talent and energy to the New York Giants. We miss you as Dolph fans, I'm not going to lie, but we're happy for you. What makes Snowman stand out even more is who he is beyond the game. He's used his platform to speak openly about mental health and show up for the community in a real way. I actually personally had the opportunity to do a community mental health event with him at a middle school here in Miami in 2023. So I can say firsthand that he is the real deal on and off the field. So we are so excited to have him with us today. Bailey and Buck Unplugged Nation, make some noise for Jevon the Snowman Holland. Yay!
To bring you around everywhere, introducing me. That was great.
Yeah, she does a great job. She's like those boxing announcers. She's got it. She's got it down.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, you ready to play football after she announces you?
Definitely.
It's like running out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
A lot of just to get started. A lot of people have a lot of different coaches in common. Me and you, in terms of athletes, me and you have one coach in common, and that's Mario Cristobal. And I mentioned this to you once before. Mario, guys, was Jevon's head coach at Oregon. And so Mario and I played against each other in high school. And it was actually in the playoffs. And, he got the better of us, and he never let me down from that one loss. And then we ended up playing together at University of Miami. So he always likes to say that I couldn't beat him, I had to join him. So we played together at University of Miami. And Jevon, there's one guy, when I see Mario a lot at University of Miami or whenever we're doing something together, he always mentions to me that, hey man, because he knows that we represent a lot of the Dolphin guys. He's like, man, Jevon Holland was one of our best players at Oregon. He talks to me about you, dude. Like, he absolutely loves you. And I want to give you an opportunity to give him back some love. So, tell the audience how much Mario has done for you, or, what's the relationship like, and how's he impacted your life?
Yeah, Coach Cristobal was he was at the time the O-line coach when I first got recruited to Oregon, and
Right.
and then Willie Taggart, who was the then head coach, left, and there was like a vacancy, right? And our recruiting class happened to be number one that year in 2018 going into, or it was 2017 going into 2018, but we were the 2018 recruiting class, and so that he left. I think it was like somewhere around late November. Taggart did, and then Cristobal I was going on my official visit, and Cristobal was there. And so that around that time, the guys on the team were like, well, let's just hire in-house, da, 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 da. And so they started this thing called Cristobal in. That was like our tagline on social media.
Oh, wow. So the team went to bat for him.
Right. The team went to bat for him. So all the coaches, all the assistant coaches, all the support staff, everybody was, behind Cristobal being the head coach. He had been around. He was a well-known coach. He established himself, et cetera. A bunch of players on the team loved him. So when I got there, I sat down with him. It was me and him. We're talking about it, and I came out of the meeting. I'm like, Cristobal in. Let's do it. Everybody stay here. So I just a testament to the type of guy he is. Whatever environment he's in. He's a motivator. He's a leader. He's a guy that you look at specifically for football, but in life. You feel like he's speaking life into you. And, that's what he did to me. He gave me the opportunity as a young player to have a platform, to have a voice on the team, to recognize, leadership in me and teach me how to both be not a controlling leader, but be a demanding leader, but also an individual who is, going to pull the best out of my teammates.
Right.
So, he came into Oregon and he really established what it is, a culture looks like, what it sounds like, how it functions, the system, you know what I mean? And how to be a part of that system and then how to excel within that. And I've taken that with me through my whole career. And it's funny that you bring that up because I was just talking to Verone McKinley, who played with me on the Dolphins and also with me in Oregon, is one of my best friends. Him and Cristobal also have a relationship. And today was our first day. And so I'm talking to, we got in the team meeting. John Harbaugh is our new head coach. Et cetera, et cetera. And John Harbaugh, Super Bowl head coach, Hall of Fame head coach, like a bunch of pedigree, right? And I'm hearing them speak and I'm hearing them talk and, speak life into the team. And I'm getting this same feeling that I got when I was in college listening to Cristobal. So I actually was going to reach out to him today and text him and just let him know that specifically,
that's great.
Like whatever he does and however he approaches the game, and he does it the right way. And that was something that he always wanted to make sure that he was doing, was approaching the game the right way, approaching men, approaching leading the right way. So I got nothing but love for Cristobal. I will forever have love for him. When I'm done playing, I want to go work for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're announcing it here right now on Bailey and Buck Unplugged.
Yeah.
After your NFL career, you, number one, want to go into coaching. Right, but number two, you want to be on Cristobal's staff.
Yeah, I want to go learn from the man himself.
So
I don't know if it's specifically coaching, because I feel like I would want to create space for players to be comfortable to talk about ball as an individual who knows ball, but not be directly hand in hand with them playing ball. So maybe like player engagement, player development, things like that.
Right, somewhere in the building. Somewhere in the building that you can talk to guys, have an impact on guys. But you said so many positive things about Cristobal. It must mean you're not surprised with his success now at the Hurricanes.
Not at all. Honestly, I had gotten to Miami in 2021. He signed on. I think it was like 2022, 2023.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people were asking me what do you think about Cristobal? I'm like, give him some time. Give him some time. He's gonna put it together. And first couple of years where he was trying to make it happen, and whatnot. They might have lost a game here, might have lost a game there. But then last year with their success, it was no surprise to me. Him being in the position that he was in, even in how he approached the last couple of games, and his
Right.
publicity and his mindset and attitude, because all these cameras are on him and they're the only
Oh yeah.
3-4 teams that are playing. A lot of people are now watching his mannerisms and how he conducts himself. He's a no BS individual. So
Yeah.
seeing his success and seeing the success of the team and the individuals that they bring in and how they talk about him, I'm not surprised at all.
Right. Well, I can tell you, man, his demeanor on the sideline when he's walking up and down the sideline is the same demeanor he had as a player. He was the lightest offensive lineman on our team, but he was one of the meanest, and he started. I mean, if you looked at the guy outside of his uniform, he looked like maybe a DN, a defensive end. But he was a mean son of a gun, and that same look on his face that I saw as a player, he has that as a coach. So it's good to hear, a story from players from his past. The fact that you guys band together and fought for him, because a lot of players try to do that in college. I mean, it happened this year at Penn State, but the interim coach did not get hired, even though all the players and the crowd was chanting the interim head coach's name, and it just didn't happen. So it says a lot that you guys went to bat for him, and he got that job. But let's move on to really what the show is about, right? Our show is about mental health and really allowing the viewers and listeners to hear some stories from celebrities, athletes, entertainers that allows them to see that everyone's journey, right? There's always some hills and there's always some hurdles that they have to go over. What in your career, if you can talk to the listeners, what in your career, what or when in your career did you have a hurdle that really affected you mentally, and what were some of the things that you did to overcome that?
Man, that's a great question. So there's a couple times that I think of. The first being when I was in high school. So my grandfather had passed away on September 16th in 2016. That was the day before we played our rival game, my junior year, I believe. No, my sophomore year. So, my grandpa had gotten sick. He had gotten sick on my birthday the year prior, and he was just in an induced coma doing this. He's just kind of rehabilitating. And then when they were going to wake him up, he ended up not waking up. I don't know what happened between the point where he was put in an induced coma and when he wasn't.
Right.
And when they woke him up, he just wasn't really there. And so all summer and whatnot, going about things, training and whatnot, and then the day before our rivalry game, my grandpa passed away.
Right.
And, it was kind of it was time. It wasn't that he was suffering, but he wasn't who he was. And so we as a family, we decided that it was time to move on. And I didn't really know, I didn't really have a relationship with death at the time.
Right.
And that's one thing I feel like a lot of people don't really have is relationships with death, because death is the only thing that's truly guaranteed.
Yeah. 100%.
100%. It's gonna happen at some point. And so I didn't really have a relationship with death. So, I was upset, and but I didn't lash out or anything like that. I felt like when I was younger, I just kind of internalized it, and I didn't really speak about it as much, right? Because I didn't really understand what I was feeling at the time. But before every game, I would talk to my grandfather. I would pray and speak out loud to him, and I would tear up before games. We ended up winning the state championship that game, and I just remember talking to him before the game, and I got a towel over my head, and I just get emotional. I start crying because he's not there,
Right.
And so at that point, I didn't really know what to do with the emotion, right? So then fast forward in 2020, right? It was I had quite a few people pass away in my life. One of my close friends, Zara, she passed away. She committed suicide.
Sorry to hear that.
Huh?
Sorry to hear that.
It's all good. One of my close friends from growing up, Tori Wiley, he committed suicide in Hawaii. This is all in the span of 2020. My homeboy Spencer Webb, he played tight end at Oregon. He's from Sac. He passed away like a swimming incident. He dived into like a shallow lake and hit his head in a rock. And he's a real big guy, so they couldn't really put him out of the water. Um, um, and then in 2023, my dean of students passed away. From high school, who was somebody that that was like a mentor to me as well. Like we were relatively close. And then one of my best friends passed away. He died of an enlarged heart the day after my birthday in 2022. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, and I honestly I'm probably missing somebody. I really am, because like for me, now at least, like I've experienced so much death in my life. Like
you went from not experiencing it, then all of a sudden, bam, 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 bam.
Right. So, and I didn't know how to deal with it when I was younger. When Zara passed away, I was upset and I was confused and I wasn't sure why, but I leaned on my friends that we had just left high school. So, I was leaning on my friends. When Tori passed away, I just wanted to know more. Like I felt like there wasn't, because I had talked to him the week prior and he seemed all good. We were chopping it up, and I just didn't really, I was asking, like I was prying, people were like, oh, like check on your strong friends too. Like I was asking them questions, like we're chopping it up for like an hour and a half. I'm not hearing anything that's, alarming or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like there's no signs.
Right.
And so then I'm like trying to get ahead of, like with all my friends, I'm just making sure they're straight, telling them that, I'm proud of them and what they're doing in life, and to keep on moving forward. If they need anything, let me know, et cetera, et cetera. And so the one that I was like that really hurt was my homeboy Justin. So Justin, we went to high school together, and he was just a regular kid in the Bay, like funny guy, was a musician and whatnot, and he had battled with some substance abuse. Nothing crazy, but he battled with substance abuse, pills, weed, et cetera, et cetera. And so for about a year, I was like not on him, but I'm just like, Drew, how you doing? Checking in on you, et cetera, et cetera. Like come out for my birthday. 2022, he came out for my birthday. All my homeboys out there, all my closest friends, we're all chopping it up, going out. He's like, yo, I'm not going to go out tonight. I'm going to stay in. I don't even want to be around alcohol. I'm like, bet, we'll be back in like 2-3 hours. Chop it up from there. You know what I mean? Like he was just on that type of vibe. Pulled himself into sobriety right around the time of my birthday. He was like 40, 50 days sober. And, he started smoking weed again, not in a negative way, but in a way that, he was comfortable with, because he felt like he was away from what had happened prior. And I'm literally just like chopping it up with him all the time. He's coming to my games, and, that's my dog. Like, and I talked to him on his birthday, February 25th. And he is kind of like an individual that was trying to find his way in life. He's working a job here. Well, on his birthday, he tells me that he's working at the Hayward Boys and Girls Club. And he's like, man, I really feel like this is me. Like, this is something that I really love to do. And I really found my purpose. I'm like, man, great. Like, I'm about to this was the first year I was doing my camp with a couple of my homeboys that I went to high school with. I'm like, bro, we're about to do a camp at O'Dowd. Like, I definitely want you to be there, work with it. We party with, Hayward group, whatever. So then a couple of days go by. My birthday, March 3rd. He calls me. He's, we're chopping it up. He's texting me and whatnot, saying that he's proud of me and stuff. And then the next day, working out, chilling, boom. My sister calls me, and she's like, yo, Drew passed away last night. Yeah.
How did you get through all that? How'd you get through it?
So and this obviously, like, I really want, at this point, I understand, like, death is something that's going to happen. And I was actively trying to live, like, people like, oh, like, you got to say everything that you want to say now so that when they're gone, like, I was already living that way, like, checking on people, telling them I'm proud of them, critically thinking about how I'm feeling, being able to explain myself and to be honest with myself, so that I can, get through whatever tough time I am. And then when I am feeling like, feeling upset or feeling hurt, then to just like let those feelings flow and not to hold them in. So the next like 4 or 5 months, I had spent the time just like I just read like maybe 15, 20 books. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and I was journaling, and I was I was ready for like life to like I was ready to live a full life. So I was journaling about myself. I was journaling
Right.
about I have this book called Calling in the One, and it was like I was making space for love in my life. And just so happened that like a month after Drew had passed away, I met my now fiance. But I was doing a lot of self help, a lot of therapy, talking about why I'm feeling the way I am, what got me to this point, and then leaning on loved ones, close friends that knew Justin and knew how
Right.
knew my story and whatnot, and I just kind of let that guide my way. But yeah, I really decided to look inward and want to like just like focus on how to make my I train all the time physically,
Right.
but I really wanted to train my mind and be able to be better, so.
Misty talks about journaling a lot, and we had a couple guests on the show that talked about journaling and how it's helped you. I think it's amazing when, especially an athlete at such a young age, to find on his own journaling. I'm 57 years old and I still haven't found journaling. I don't know, like everything in me says journaling is good, but to pick up the and maybe my ADHD, to pick up a pen and a paper and start writing is so hard for me. But so many people have used that practice to help them. And it's just to me, it's surprising and amazed. I'm amazed that at your young age, you picked up journaling and used that to help you. Did someone tell you about journaling, or did you learn that from the books you read? How did journaling come into your life?
I ended up buying a book and just started writing shit down. Like
Oh
and
wow.
not like anything specific. I was just writing down things that I felt at the time, and I would put a date on it. And part of my mind, I'm like, this is gonna be dope to be able to look back like, 10, 15 years and
Ah,
read what
that's
I was
it.
feeling. You know what I mean? Like, let me read what I was
Yeah.
feeling at the time. So, and I've journaled in all different facets of my life. Like, I'll have I don't think I have it right here, but it's like a small black book that I carried with me when I was going into the meetings and stuff. And if a coach says something that I don't like, I write it down. Or if I'm upset, I write
Oh
sideways.
wow.
Or
That's a
if I'm
great
feeling good,
practice.
you know what I mean? Or if I'm feeling good, or like mindset for the week, just little things like that, so I can just track, how I'm feeling and what that process is for me. But yeah, I mean that journaling for me, um, while I was, it really started when I started doing that calling in the one book, because it has like exercises and whatnot. I actually have my journal right here. It has like
Wow.
exercises and whatnot in it, and for you to like write out things that you want in the future. And I've got stuff in this book, like me writing out the future I want with my now fiance that we're currently living, like things that I wrote about 3 years ago.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, and so think like that was huge for me. Being able to just, and then if it's like my aunt actually taught me this. If it's something that I don't like that I'm thinking about, I'll write it down and then I'll rip the page out and I'll throw it away, because I
Oh
got it out in
wow.
my head and I put it on paper, but I don't need to hold on to that no more, because it's either negative feelings or it's something that's going to be detrimental to my positive
That
mind.
that's amazing. Misty is a expert at helping athletes with their mental approach to sports. And Misty, I just want to hear your thoughts on the journaling and how it's helped Jevon, and your thoughts about all that.
Yeah, I mean, I think here's the thing. I think everyone has to find their personal coping skill kit. Jevon, I'm a fellow Pisces. Maybe that's what it is, but I love journaling too. I love writing. I love getting that stuff out there. I too have ripped up pages and gotten rid of them. I'm probably going to put in my will, burn this, don't read it. Like if you find my journals, because Lord knows what's in there at this point. But I feel like it's important to have a positive outlet. It's important to make time for self-reflection and connection. Some people can do that through just meditation. Some people do it through prayer. Some people do it through a combination of things. Journaling certainly being one of those. So I think it's just really important to honor and find what works for you. And just, you don't necessarily have to go with a prompt, although that may be helpful. But it sounds like, Jevon, you're all about that. Like, I'm just gonna write what I'm feeling. Let me put it somewhere,
Yeah.
get it out of here,
Right.
Right.
and just
Right.
have a release for it, right? Because sometimes you just get clarity and a sense of relief just from getting it out of your head.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the time for me, like I need to be absent-minded in some facets. So like now I'll go like to the driving range and I'll just hit it like golf balls because I don't think about anything when I'm hitting golf balls. Just the fact, like just my technique and like trying to hit the ball good. So it's good. It's nice for me to be able to do that and then now return to whatever it is I'm dealing with in life. And now I have like time away from it so I can approach it in a different emotion.
Right.
And so I've been really trying to make an effort to explain to people if they ask me something like in the current state that I am, I might not want to do it at that time, but maybe in an hour, I might be in the right mindset to be able to say yes or to say no or to, give you what you want. So just making that like clear, understanding like how I'm feeling in this current moment and being able to communicate that.
But that's such a gift to yourself that you've done that work and that you've allowed yourself to go to therapy, but not just to process things, but to really get to know yourself better, right? And connect with yourself and know, like, am I at my best right now? Being really mindful of where you're at, taking that temperature check. And that comes through experience. I know adults much older than you who have not quite learned how to master that yet, and understand I'm in this space, so this is not the right time to have this conversation or, whatever it is. So I really give you a lot of credit for that because it takes, and maybe you can speak to this. I think it takes a lot of courage for anyone to take a hard look at themselves. First of all, to be vulnerable, right? Go to therapy and be vulnerable with another person, but to really be honest with yourself, right? And this is where I'm at. And I think that takes a lot of courage. So I give you a lot of credit for that. How have you found that courage to continue to get to know yourself and do the work?
I really just kept thinking about Drew's words, like I need to, I have the right to live a full life. I need to live a full life. I deserve it. And I feel like I couldn't get to that point unless I was like in a better state. And I knew that I wasn't handling this okay. My homeboy Drew makes music and like it's like in my playlist and whatnot. And I used to just get in the car and hit shuffle. And like anytime his song would come on, I would just start crying because I would be upset. So about like day two of that happening, I was like, okay, I need to go talk to somebody who is a professional, not because they know better than me, but because they have the questions necessary for me to get into my thought process deeper, so I can figure out what's actually wrong and how I can effectively change that or use that as motivation to make myself a better person. So that's where that desire to like continue to better myself came from is like knowing that something about me is not okay and I need to get that right. So
in your head, what
a lot of credit.
Yeah,
because
in
a
your
lot of
head,
people feel that and just sit with it and ignore it or they whatever. So anyways, I'll let you go, Robert, but I
no,
just
I
want
was
to make
just
sure I
gonna
give you
ask.
your
I
credit
was
for
just gonna
that.
ask him because he said live a full life a couple of times. I just want to know in your head, Jevon, what is the definition of living a full life?
so for me, I think living a full life, in my perspective, is like leaving no stone unturned. And that's not saying like do everything that you possibly can in life. That's just if there's a hint of desire to do something, to experience something, to talk to somebody, then to lean into that desire. Um, I'll give you a small example. This off season, I had told my fiance that I wanted to get into cycling and swimming, and I wanted to work on cars. So I dove into that. I got a bike and I was cycling and it was dope. And I got this old school car that I'm like working on and like fixing up. And I ended up loving it. I ended up loving driving the car and loving cycling. And that's just an aspect of that. Continuing my education and wanting to continue to learn, not necessarily like, get an extra degree or a master's or whatnot, but just to continue to educate myself on a daily basis, whether it's somebody says something and I'm not just taking it for fact. I do my research and go look into it and get the background details so that I know the full aspect of the conversation. So that next time I come around that topic, whether I'm talking to somebody or reading something, I have a better understanding of what that specific subject is. So just, rounding myself out. I call it now. I mean, now that I have a fiance, we're building to get a family. I call it dad lore. Like I'm building out my dad lore. So when my kids start asking me questions, I can start answering the questions. No questions needed. I just boom, I got the information ready. So that's
awesome.
That's like what I that's my live a full life is try to shine light on every aspect of my life and make sure that I'm not like leaving anything on the wayside.
Yeah, so a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
One of the things you're looking to do. I love that curiosity about you. That's amazing. That's amazing. Do you surround yourself? Because I always say people, you surround yourself with people that are like-minded. So do you have people in your circle that are similarly minded?
Yeah, I have some of my close friends they're all like just strange in their own way. My homeboy Charles, like he was working for this development company and now he is like running a rodeo and he rides horses all the time and I think it's dope. But I've never like ridden a horse. I would love to. And he has like, he works on this 8-second rodeo. They travel this black-owned rodeo and stuff. They travel around. I'm like, bet. So now I'm like into rodeos and like fishing and cowboys and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's just like we just like bounce ideas off each other. But I try to be fully into the side quest. My fiance calls it side quest. She's like, you love doing these odd things and like getting fully dressed up for it. I'm like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna be fully in it.
Right. If you go into the rodeo, you going with the hat, you going with the
whole thing. If I'm to do yard work, I'm in the full yard work fit, boots, hat, mask, shades, the whole nine. So yeah.
That's hilarious. That's 100%.
I'm over here curious about who your parents were and what their influence was on your life.
My parents are interesting individuals. My dad is a son of a military. He's a military family kid. Traveled around a bunch of places. He played ball for the Niners and he played ball in Canada. That's why I was born in Canada. And then my mom is also the daughter of a military veteran, and her mother worked in education at San Francisco State University. My mom wanted to be a news reporter. Broadcaster in Sacramento. She was working to be that, and then she had moved to Canada with my pops. They have their own business and personal training and whatnot. So they're strange in their own ways and odd, but they're definitely funny too.
I've heard of someone. You said so many positive things about your parents, and then you go, but they're strange and odd in their own ways.
Yeah, so, they got their own isms.
When normal people just from the military, they're all disciplined and straight line, and there's a way to do things. Did they raise you in that manner?
Yeah, I mean, they raised me with discipline, and you gotta clean up your room if you want to go out and things like that.
Did you feel that military influence in the way they raised you?
Not at all.
It wasn't like that.
It was definitely like one generation removed, right? Because both of my grandfathers were in the military, and then my dad's brothers were all in the military at one point. But my dad went and played ball, and then my mom's dad was in the military, and so she wasn't in the military. So definitely one parent removed.
So they didn't get it. They didn't get that. Maybe your parents got that from their parents.
They definitely did.
And then typically they don't pass it down because they're like, I'm never gonna make my kid have to live like this.
Yeah.
I'm the military parent. My uncles are all former military, and I'm the military parent. So my kids are getting it, and Robert gets it from me all the time. It's done this way. And
what do you do with your kids, Bailey? That we're in the military. Is military influenced. What have you done with your kids?
I mean, legit, it's the organization, like it's keeping them organized, and it's the time thing, like having them respect the time. Because when I moved to the US, I felt like no Americans respected time. Like it was so offensive to me every time I'd be somewhere. If it's a 1 o'clock start, I'm there at 12:55 because military training is you're late if you're less than 5 minutes before the start time. And people would text me at like 1:10 and say, hey, I'm running late, and I'm lit. Like I already know because you were supposed to be here at 1 o'clock. Yeah. You should have told me from the time you should have started driving when you knew you were going to be late. And it's like, so for my kids to be able to have a great relationship with me, even my side quest, like that side quest thing,
that side quest. Yeah.
My side quest. All of my side quests, past, present, and future, like literally, if they are late, I cannot deal. I can't do it. Where did you get this side quest title from?
I couldn't even tell you. Like I started just doing stuff. I think it started when I've gotten down to Miami. Never fished. I never really fished when I was a kid. We went like 2 times with my grandpa, and like we didn't catch anything. So I was like, I'm not a fisher. Like,
You're done.
I don't want to get up 5 a.m. and fish. So when I was growing up, I never really went fishing. My dad never caught anything. When I got to Miami, though, there's fish in the canal on the side of the street. So I would be on the side of the street with my backpack on that has all my lures and everything in the back. I would have a bucket with live bait and my fishing pole, and I would be throwing lines in the water, catching fish, and people would be driving by, and some of my homeboys and teammates and their families would be like, "Is that Jevon?" They'll take pictures of me and be like, "Bro, I swear I just saw you on the side of the road." Yes, that's me on the side of the road catching fish. So that's
where did the love come from though? Where did the love come from to go fishing where you would go on the side of the road where you came from no fishing? Like, how did that transition happen?
I just wanted to try it. I was like, oh, I might do that. I'll try that. And then I went and did it, and I was like, oh, I love it. So then I started just doing it more.
I still owe you a trip on Lake Okeechobee whenever you're down.
Yeah. Lake Okeechobee.
Still owe you that trip.
Yeah, I'll definitely go. For sure.
I'm not fishing. I'm a horse girl, but I am not fishing. I'm not sitting up there.
To your organization point, I'm definitely big on organizing, being on time. We used to be late all the time as a kid, and I hated it. So I'm always early, even like airport travel. Airport travel got to be detailed down to the minute. Like, I got to know what time we're getting there, what time the baggage claim closes, so I can get my bags in. I have time enough to get some food before. Hold on.
So you're probably the planner in your relationship then, because I feel like there's always one that's like the planner. Like, we got to, like, that's me. And my husband's like, he does everything last minute. It drives me nuts.
No, is your girl on point?
Yeah, she's on point. But when she's with me, she knows I'm on point. So she's just like, like, I'm just holding her hand and she's walking with me. But I'm like, all right, we got to get here. She's like, okay, like, all right, sure.
Yeah. She let you run the show.
Yeah. She's super funny. She's super funny.
I love that at this age, though, you're this well-grounded. Like, I have a 25-year-old son and a 21-year-old son, and then I'm like, there's 3 more of them, and they literally all journal. And I think it's their generation. They don't write as much as we had to write growing up, so we had to write everything. Like, there was like, we started on like that ugly computer where it was like a Lotus program, so you guys are like, everything's digital to the point where school doesn't really have a lot of what I
was writing when I was a kid, dude. I'm not that old. I'm that young. I mean, I didn't get a laptop till like high school, but I was right. I had the hand cramps and all that when I was growing up in school too. So I mean, hey, I get it, but we are on.
I'm just like,
were you journaling?
Yeah.
Were you journaling when you were that young?
Yeah, I was like, I had a little small journal when I was young, but like, I wasn't writing anything, and I was drawing more than anything.
Right.
Like, that's what I used to do. I used to sketch and draw all the time. I drew most of my tattoos.
You also use positive affirmations a lot, like just even in the way you speak, and then the manifestation piece with what you want, and like the way that you get rid of the things that you don't need to add any additional energy to is a lot of like that meditation type, like manifest your future. And because you talk about living a full life, like, which is also like, you've seen a lot of loss in your life, so you're almost like making sure you live your life to your fullest, because your friends or the people that you lost didn't have that chance to do that. So that's super impressive to do in the space that you're at. Would you say that a lot of that was also influenced by the therapy that you also sought out? Because I also don't know people that on day 2 of realizing where they're at in a grieving process decide to seek therapy. I know them on day like 22, but not 2,
Not early.
Yeah, I think therapy like brought it out of me, and like I said, like the guy that I was doing therapy with, he was asking the right questions so that I could navigate deeper into how I was feeling my emotions, and that just kind of naturally, curated itself. But yeah, that therapy definitely helped me. It helped me get a lot out and just like to speak out loud,
right?
And to put words to the feelings that I was feeling.
I think it's really interesting for listeners to hear how you went about securing a therapist for yourself.
Yeah.
Especially at your age. Like, what was your, like, who did you reach out to? How did you reach out to them? And then what did you say to get the ball rolling?
So with the NFL, there's team clinicians that are on staff in the facility. So, everything's very discreet, and they don't want, guys to, you don't want to know who's talking to who and whatnot.
Right.
But, our team clinician was around on the Dolphins, and, he was always making himself known and whatnot. So I just went up to him and I was like, hey, I think we should talk. And that was like basically it. I didn't really give him any more information than that, but I just walked past him and was like, oh, like, let me know when you're free to talk. And I was, at that point, I think I was going into my third year on the Dolphins. I was going to be a 2-year captain. So it wasn't like I was somebody who was just like kind of just
Right.
existing over there. Like I was well known. So, um, but it was important for me to like make it. It's like it was a stern, hey, we need to talk. So
Right.
yeah, it was tough.
What did he, I'm thinking you've been through, you've been through a lot when it comes to death. You've also been through a lot when it comes to getting help, self-help, therapy, journaling. You really experienced a lot in your life. How has all of that impacted you on the morals and values that you're going to put into your kids? Right? You look at your life, your kids in the future. I mean, have you thought about, listen, when I have kids, this is how have you talked with this is how I'm going to raise them. This is how we're going to raise them. These moral and values are the way we're going to raise my future kids. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I've talked to it to my fiance a lot actually, and I
Right.
think um, we share the same views. Obviously, otherwise we would be engaged. But no,
Right.
it's like I don't want to raise my kids and raise them in a bubble where they're not having a conversation about what's actually wrong, or how to
Right.
communicate. Um, like I always feel like sometimes when kids are told one thing and then something else happens later on, they feel wronged, but there's no outlet for them to communicate why they feel wronged. And
Right.
sometimes that builds negative emotions either towards the parent or towards an authoritarian figure, which can lead to negative consequences down the line. And I
Right.
want to I want to make it I want to make the space for my kids a space where they can clearly state what they feel and how they're feeling and how to deliberate between what they're feeling, what the situation is, and how to conduct themselves. Yeah, I want them to be okay with and comfortable communicating to me how they're feeling. Not like, oh, I want to go talk to mom or I want to just like
Right.
keep it together and talk to my friends. Like, no, if you're feeling some type of way, let's talk about it. I don't want to dismiss your feelings, whether you feel like somebody is picking on you at school or I told you to you can go hang out with your friends. And then I told you, a day later, I'm like, nah, you can't go. And you asked me why. And I said, because I said so. Well, that just
Yes.
cuts off a level of communication that I don't want to cut off for my son or my daughter.
Right.
So I have to give a valid reason why I don't want them to go. You know what I mean? I don't want ultimatums, and I don't want them to live in ultimatums. Because then once they get older, there's a level of communication that I won't have with them if that's the way that I conduct myself. So
Yeah. A part of our goal for mental health and suicidal, prevention with teens is awareness, and awareness comes with communication. And you know, I think more young couples or couples that they don't have to be young, but couples before they have kids should have communication about how they are going to raise their kids, what morals and values they see themselves putting into their kids to make sure, number one, that they're on the same page, first of all, right?
mm,
Because yours may be different from hers and hers may be different from yours. And then all of a sudden, if you don't talk about it, you end up having a kid and then you end up bumping heads on the way you may want to raise your children compared to the way she wants to raise their children. So the fact that you've already thought about that is amazing. But I think more couples before having kids, before getting married, should have real conversation about child rearing and their values and morals and what one parent wants to have compared to another parent. I think that's just with the rate of suicide today and the rate of all the mental health. Yeah, we can point to social media and the telephones and all these other professional influencers, but I think there's something to be said about two parents that are on the same page and how they help their kids.
I couldn't agree more. I truly couldn't agree more. I think I think it's something that's not talked about enough. I was all I've always been confused when people end up committing suicide. Their parents or guardians say like, "Oh, I had no idea." I feel like
Yeah.
that's something that shouldn't be a thing. You know what I mean? But I think
Right.
that's a result of the lack of whether it's
Right.
communication, that communication line from parent to child. If there it really isn't one, then that can lead to some negative thoughts and eventually some very negative
Right.
things. So I 100% agree.
Most,
To
I think
Robert's
most
point,
parents feel guilty about that. Go ahead, Bailey.
I was going to say to your point, like, because I mean, Jevon, you don't know, I've been a wedding planner since 2007. So I married a crap ton of couples globally. And
Mhm.
everyone thinks that they've had that conversation. A lot, probably about 80% of my clients have gone through premarital counseling. But what they don't realize is they're not digging deep into the actual layers of the question. For instance, they're the question's generic and they're like, how do you want to raise your kids? And then they talk the generic answer, but they don't go into scenarios about, well, what's your discipline style? Who has the
Right.
final say? What if we disagree? Like they don't start breaking down that level. And Jamal, I know you're a reader, which I love, because 12 books in a year is a lot. So if you and your fiance haven't read the five love languages yet, I hope you do before you get married, because that book, tell me. Yeah,
I have
the
not
five.
read it, but let me write it down.
Okay, so the five love languages, buy two copies, so you each get a copy.
Hmm.
And literally, it will tell you how to talk to the other person in the other person's love language. But to take it a step further, I'm lucky to be a mom to five, two bonus children and three of my own. And once I learned that book for my relationship, I was actually able to use that tactic on my kids. Because once I was able to figure out how they receive love, that I stopped giving it the way I receive it and gave it to them the way they need to receive it. And when you can do that, thank you. Ooh, I got clocked,
Mm.
people that can't see.
Mm.
But once you're able to do that and realize, like, my love language is gifts, but my husband's is not. And I just keep gifting the crap out of him in the beginning. And I'm like, I'm loving you. And then he's like, no, I like words of affirmation. And I'm like, oh, so you mean I can stop spending money on gifts and just tell you how great you are? Okay, fine. But
Right.
I'm like,
Everybody's different.
yeah, he's giving me words of affirmation, and that's just blows off my head. I'm like, no, I'm gifts. So like he's got to spend, thank God he's got money, because then he can spend the money, and then I just got to tell him how great he is. And once you figure that out in your relationship, then you literally have like the keys to the kingdom. It like unlocks so much, but it even at another level unlocks it on the teenager, the child level. Because once you realize who your kids are, then you can show them the love that in the way that they need to receive it. So definitely add
Right.
those two. Yeah.
No, definitely, and that's by Gary Chapman.
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
That's
My
awesome.
two of my
That was
kids
a
are in
great
long-term
point. That was a
relationships.
great point. You said once you stop trying to give love how you received it and give it to how they need it, that's
Yeah.
huge. That's
That
huge.
that that right there blew my mind too. That I
That
was
was
like,
yeah, because a
Well,
lot of people don't realize
you
that.
know what happened? We got preconditioned, not nothing against the Bible, nothing against Christ and Christianity and all the things, right? But we are so preconditioned from that one Bible verse, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I personally take that one a little offensively, because I'm like, what if somebody wasn't want to be treated the way I want to be treated? What if they want to be treated a very different way and they keep asking me and telling me and showing me, and if I really care about them, I'm just going to learn the way that they want to be treated and treat them the way they want to be treated versus how I want to be treated. So that's my only
you,
like,
If these
yeah,
two fingers touch, you know it's tea. That was
yeah.
great. That was
Views and
great.
views and perception. Everyone has different views and perception. We all see things. You may see white, but I may see gray, and somebody may
oh,
see
that was
eggshell,
the
and
yellow
somebody.
dust again.
Everything is different.
Yeah.
So Javon, we're coming to the end, and I like to have Misty ask the last
Well, it's my
questions.
last question, but okay.
Oh, Bailey, go ahead, Bailey. We don't want to keep Javon here forever.
Oh, yes, we do. He's doing
Yeah,
great. He's
he's
such a
great.
good
He's
example
great.
to our listeners. I think this is great. I love, but
Yes.
really quickly, Jevon, what is your camp about? The camp that you run? Because I earlier you had mentioned the camp. What's your mission for your camp?
Yeah, really, I just wanted to provide a space for young kids to have fun for a day and know that we're building a community in the Bay Area as players who have been in the Bay Area and played, giving them a space to, have role models, people to look up to, and know that, we were once where they were and we made it to where we wanted to be. So whatever facet or form that, they have aspirations to make it in whatever category that, if they take the necessary steps and believe in themselves, and they can get there.
That's
Right.
awesome.
So great job. Super proud of you. Super proud of everything we've heard. If you ever have teens who are struggling in your area, Kennedy Kids Foundation has a teen ambassador program. We have an 18 module like workbook that the teens can work through, and we'd be happy to provide those for the teens that are attending your camp if that's something you'd like to add, or any teen suicide prevention information or mental health information in the Bay Area. We'd definitely be happy to support you.
Yeah.
The final question we always love to ask our guests are, what are the 3 things that you do to improve your mental health if you're feeling down or having an off day?
That's a great question. If I'm feeling down or having an off day, I'll try to go play golf. That's one. If I can't play golf, then I will play with my cats because I have 3 cats and I love them.
Wow.
Yeah,
What kind of cats do you have before you
I
answer
have
the third question?
I have a Russian blue. He's like our bigger cat. His name's Rocco. I have a long-haired domestic. That's Lynx. She's our youngest cat. And then just like a shadow cat, which she's all black. Her name's Remy. She's kind of scary sometimes. Yeah.
What made you get into cats?
My lady she had Remy when she had first moved in, and then I was like, I want my own cat. So then I got Rocco, and then my neighbor had his cat. He named him Chester, but he was like getting rid of him, and it was like a kitten. And we were playing Green Bay, and he pulled up to the house and was like, "Hey, do you want this cat?" And put this adorable kitten in my girl's face, and she's like. So then I get out of the game and I get a text. He's like, "We have 3 cats now." I was like, "All right, I guess." I mean, he was so cute. Like, how can you turn him down?
Before you go to the third one, do they fight each other?
Yeah, well, Lynx is like the he's a little bugger, so he like bothers Rocco, but Rocco's huge, so Rocco just like sits on him and like jumps on himself. And then Remy plays no games. Remy plays no games. You come near, he's swinging. So
that's funny. The third one.
The third one is I will get lost in a good book. I think about books, how I think about movies, and Brandon Sanderson, who is like a well-known author, he has said on the end of this first book that I read, his The Sunlit Man, it said the book isn't complete until the reader finishes the last page, because every book is different in everybody's mind. Mm-hmm. And so I've kind of taken that with me through just every book that I've read. And I actually started a book club with my cousins.
Oh, wow.
And so while we're like halfway through the book, I asked them what they thought each individual looked like. And everybody's thought process was different. And I was given like examples of, what I thought they looked like in my head and stuff. But I always found that was interesting. But yeah, books for me, like I kind of just get lost in the pages, and that like takes my mind off of, whatever's
going on.
Yeah, whatever's going on. So.
That is fantastic. I love that you started a book club. There you go. Back at you.
You got to be the only football player in the NFL that started his own book club. I gotta give you a clap on that one.
Maybe there's some readers though. I'm trying to get some of the homies to read on the team. So, but I'm always reading.
Yeah. You're gonna have an NFL book club eventually, like with all alumni and past, present, future players. That would be great.
That's awesome.
If any of our listeners would love to follow you or find you, what would you like to share for them to be able to link up with you on social?
If they got questions, I have like a main Instagram, which is like Jevon Holland, JEVHOLLAND. But they like my personal page where like I'll post just like my daily content.
Yeah.
I don't even like saying content because it's just like me like posting pictures of myself or like stuff that I'm around. It's Quick Draw Jev, QUICK DRAWJEV.
Quick Draw Jev.
Yeah. So my grandfather, he and I used to watch like black and white westerns when I was growing up.
Yeah, Quick Draw. Yeah.
And I love westerns, and like now I like country music, and my homeboys and rodeo and stuff. So
now you're rodeoing.
Yeah, Quick Draw was just something I came up with, and it kind of stuck. And now I got a golf page, like Quick Draw Golf and stuff. So it's cool.
And he has a golf page, Quick Draw Golf.
I got a golf page. Yeah, I got a golf page, logo, whole thing. So
when you come down if you come down to Miami, man, bring your clubs and we'll take you golfing. I golf.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
do it. For
Absolutely.
sure.
You'll love it. You'll love it.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. You
Thank
were an
you.
amazing guest. Great
Of course.
job.
Thank you for
And
having me.
of course, to our listeners, if you or someone you know is struggling with mental health and is in need of assistance, please visit www.kennedykids.org. Our resource page has more information. Otherwise, you could also have them dial 988, which is the 24/7 suicide and crisis hotline, and someone will always be there to assist you. And of course, if you just want to get involved with us, just contact us through our webpage and we'll be happy to add you to the mission. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening today.
Thank you, Jevon.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.